There's an old saying. I'm sure all you guys have heard it before. Let me see if I can recite it the way that George Bush said it all those years ago. The man commonly known as W. For those that don't know, the W in George W. Bush stands for his middle name, woke. According to George Bush, the saying goes, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me, the fool can't be fooled again. Now, the real saying, of course, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Over the course of 8 years, George Bush proved this saying to be untrue. He was consistently fooled during the 8 years he was president, mostly by Richard Cheney, who Georgie preferred to call Dickie. The mainstream media, they were relentlessly brutal to George Bush during his presidency. He was often the target of their vitriol, their propaganda. When shitfucks identify an enemy, they do everything in their power to take him down. If the enemy doesn't violate the woke commandments, if the enemy doesn't provide shitfucks with any ammunition, they will simply just make shit up. Last month, the mainstream media, they tried to convince us that the campus of Brigham Young University was filled with mythical racists. This campus is dangerous! Not only is it filled with mythical racism, BYU doesn't offer students a safe space. Minorities have no place to hide from the evil white man. Instead of fact-checking the fairy tale of Rachel Richardson and her fairy godmother Lisa Pamplin, who is more commonly known by her stage name Beetlejuice, I have seen some scary-looking woke women in my lifetime. Beetlejuice might be the scariest of them all. When Rachel Levine saw the face of Beetlejuice last month, he begged doctors to turn him back into a man. Oh my God, is that what a woke woman looks like? Please, doctor, give me back my cucumber. Instead of the media doing their job and fact-checking this fairy tale, they took the word from a proven racist as gospel and tainted BYU with false claims of mythical racism. Even after the story was proven false, the mainstream media, they continued to pretend it was real. And while I'm thinking about it, where the fuck is Mike Freeman at USA Today? Where, oh where is my Star Trek virgin? Mike Freeman, which is a fitting last name for this shitfuck. This dude has never been with a woman. He's been a free man his entire life. The Star Trek virgin, though, he said that he would be the first in line if Rachel Richardson proved to be full of shit. Well, it's been proven. I haven't seen Mike Freeman in line. Matter of fact, I haven't seen a retraction from anyone in the mainstream media. I have yet to see one member of the media apologize for denigrating the reputation of BYU and its fan base. Instead of issuing insincere apologies, the fucking media is doubling down on the bullshit. Yesterday, The Guardian issued an exclusive report outlining another claim of mythical racism involving BYU. Gather round, children, it's story time on Behind the Line. I am going to share with you the depressing story of African American soccer players being verbally abused by those damn Mormons. Oh, it was so awful. The slurs, the blurbs, the words. Oh, where is my oak tree? I need guidance. I need prayer. Oh, tree, please give me the strength to share this horrific story of mythical racism. This fairy tale begins last fall at a soccer game against BYU and some mythical opponent. Well, Casey, what do you mean mythical opponent? Were they playing themselves? No. This was not a team filled with Mike Freemans, male identifiers who had to pleasure themselves. The reason I'm saying BYU had a mythical opponent is because the Guardian didn't identify the school they were playing against. Not only did they not identify the opponent, the Guardian also refused to identify the accusers. According to 5 anonymous female soccer players who attend one of the many campuses of Woke U across America. Actually, it is pure speculation at this point that these 5 soccer players are female. The Guardian didn't provide the necessary paperwork from a biologist to confirm the gender of these birthing persons. So it is pure speculation at this point that these accusers are female. But anyway, According to these birthing persons, BYU fans yelled racial slurs at them during the playing of the national anthem. They were yelling at us. They were telling us to stand up. It was so scary. I'm shaking just retelling this fairy tale. Oh, I need a break. Where is my emotional support shovel? I think this is another case of a partial truth being reported. Now, there's no doubt in my mind BYU fans were telling these opposing players to stand up for the national anthem. That's a common occurrence when a woke shitfuck is using the national anthem to protest mythical racism. During the national anthem, these anonymous players, they admitted that they assumed the position of fellatio, or they assumed the position of prayer to the oak tree, whichever analogy you prefer. Either way, they were on their fucking knees. But were racial slurs used? I doubt it. You know what? I'm not even going to say I doubt it. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this entire story is fabricated. It's bullshit. Number one, let's pretend for 1 second that this actually happened. Why did it take a full year for these 5 players to come forward? And when they finally came forward, why did they come forward anonymously? Well, KC, they were afraid of the backlash. They're in fear of retaliation. Bullshit. That is the actual excuse these players gave to the Guardian. We're afraid of retaliation. What retaliation? The only group that tends to retaliate are the woke shit fucks. Normal people, we don't retaliate. We just label you a stupid fuck and move on. Someone please explain to me the backlash that Rachel Richardson received. Where was it? ESPN propped her up as some sort of hero. This young woman is a role model for children. Rachel Richardson fought mythical racism, but mythical racism won. Since when did we start celebrating losers in this country? Even after the Rachel Richardson bullshit was proven false, she still didn't receive any backlash. Once multiple investigations proved this to be mythical racism, the mainstream media, they pretended Rachel Richardson didn't exist. What backlash did Bubba Wallace receive? He created a nice little fairy tale of mythical racism involving himself. It was ultimately proven false. What backlash did he receive? Instead of being labeled a liar, Bubba Wallace was given a 2-hour documentary on ESPN about all the fake racism he has to deal with in NASCAR. This report by The Guardian is another case of lazy journalism. Propaganda is what it is. Just like the incident last month with Rachel Richardson, there is not one piece of audio or video evidence to back up these accusations of these anonymous players of mythical racism. There hasn't been a referee come forward to back up the claims. Not one person in attendance, not one player from BYU's come forward, or a player from the opposing team. Matter of fact, a 6th member of the opposing team, they actually did come forward. What did they say? I didn't hear these chants. This report should have never been released by The Guardian. If we had an honest media, if there were honest editors approving these articles, stories like this would never be released publicly. You can't just rely on the word of 5 anonymous players looking to make themselves victims. Now, the rest of the mainstream media, they're doing their job ensuring this story gets around. Headline at Bleacher Report: BYU fans racially abused visiting women's soccer team. The Salt Lake Tribune, which, if I remember correctly, the Salt Lake Tribune initially broke the Rachel Richardson fairy tale. Now, you would think they would have a little bit of hesitation. But as you guys know, these people won't let a little bit of hesitation get in the way of furthering the narrative. Headline at the Salt Lake Tribune: new allegations of racial slurs at BYU sporting event. Once again, the mainstream media is running with a story of mythical racism and no proof. But it's interesting. Most of the outlets that have picked up this story so far, they have conveniently forgotten to mention the 6th player coming forward who claimed to not hear the mythical racism. So let's see. We have thousands of people at this event. 5 people supposedly hear racial slurs, and no one else heard them because they had cucumbers stuck in their ears. Am I following this correctly? Does that make any fucking sense to you? Not only did they conveniently forget the sixth player, most of these mainstream media outlets reference the Rachel Richardson story without informing their readers that she was full of shit. This is the second time in a month BYU is accused of mythical racism. Shut this campus down. They teach students to worship God instead of the woke oak tree. Their students drive around in gas-powered vehicles instead of the approved unicycle. It's also being reported male students at BYU, they refuse cucumber insertion. BYU doesn't allow bongos in their band. They encourage young men to marry women instead of garden tools. When the Daily Beast reported this story, they waited until the second, third paragraph of the article to mention the fact that this mythical racism took place last year. Now, why does that matter? Because most people, they only read headlines, taglines. They don't read the entire article. It's a manipulation tactic. Now, as of the recording of this video, this case of mythical racism, it hadn't spread like the Rachel Richardson story spread. But you got to remember, it took several days for Rachel Richardson to become headline news. Her fairy tale was initially reported on a Saturday. Didn't really hit the mainstream until Monday or Tuesday of the following week. Now, we will see in a couple of days if this latest myth spreads. I do know this. BYU better not come out and apologize. You have already allowed yourselves to be fooled once. Do not be fooled again. Now, I can't prove this didn't happen, but these 5 shitfucks, they can't prove that it did happen. Now, personally, I'm not biting into their shit sandwich. This should have never been reported by The Guardian without proof. I don't like lawsuits, but unless these media outlets start getting sued for slander, start being held accountable, this bullshit's going to continue to happen. But let me know what you think. Are you buying into the shit sandwich? Are you enjoying the taste of the shit sandwich? Do you believe these 5 anonymous players, or is this another case of mythical racism? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys on Monday.